respondents did you have?
I think overall I got about 70 or 80, and I couldn't end up using everything because some people would just write like one little response to the one question they found was particularly, interesting. But I think I ended up getting about 70 where they answered everything. So my survey results I kind of have separated into two groups. First I'll go over the types of technology, and then I'll go over the attitudes towards technology. So I basically boiled down three major pieces of technology that seem to be the essentials. First, really caught me by surprise because this was something that I did not even consider in the realm of technology. I was thinking of modern things such as electronics and things you plug in or run on batteries. But of course, technology really is any device that you use to help you do whatever you're trying to do. So yes, optics do qualify. And almost everyone in their emails said, hey, you forgot to list this, but this is really important. So, and in that same vein, also people said, well, I can't see without glasses or contact lenses, and so I have to include that in optics as well. It's very true. You can't go out and find birds if you literally cannot see them. Or hear them, and later on, I will mention also hearing aids. So you have to have some senses. And I was surprised by this, but I was also surprised by this, because some people said, you have to admit that firearms also could be considered a piece of technology used for birding. And if you think about Audubon, the most wonderful birder of all, and he went out with his shotgun and shot down specimens to look at and paint. So thank heavens we have such great optics now that this is kind of, no longer important. So back more into what I was thinking of as birding technology. The most important and pervasive piece that I found was song recordings. So almost everyone said that they used bird CDs or bird recordings of some type in order to learn bird song before they went out. This has been around since the middle of the last century, and so the 1950s or so, which means that these have gone through many phases, from records all the way through MP3s right now. And who knows what the next phase is. But people actually did still have their bird song records, which I thought was amazing. And of course, there are some modern pieces as well. So on the far left, you'll see the song sleuth, which is a device that you point at a singing bird, and it has a little algorithm where it tries to match the pattern of song to things that are stored in its memory. And it will then flash you up a list of the most likely candidates. And this has gotten mixed reviews, but that's pretty amazing. I think it's several $100. According to the reviews, sometimes it was great and other times it was way off. So I think there's still a little bit of development there. Another piece is the iFlyer, which is this little booklet and pen that goes with it, and you can use the pen to press down and hear a song or a bird call. So it's kind of a nice way to have your field guide all rolled into one with your bird song recordings. Then the Bird Jam here on the right is an iPod that comes loaded with bird songs and bits of information and pictures and all sorts of nice stuff, so that you can have it a little bit more accessible to you in the field if you want to take it with you. It's just smaller and more compact. Now, a lot of people said that they used these beforehand to learn the song before they went out into the wild. A bunch more people said that they also would listen to stuff in the wild and then come home or go into their car in the parking lot, play a recording and say, this is what I thought I heard. A few more said that they took it out into the field, and therein lies the controversy. So lots and lots of people had many long comments about playback in the field. And the proponents of playback did outnumber the opponents, however, numerically. But all these responses had lots of caps and italics and exclamation points. So this is a very wild topic and very emotional topic. And a lot of people did feel that it was unethical in the same way that a lot of people feel that fishing is unethical. Most people did point out that there are certain species that are too shy for you to encounter randomly most of the time. So owls and rails would be a good example of species that really, if you want to go out on any given day and see them, you might need to call them in. At the same time, playback does have some drawbacks, especially if you do it during the breeding season. You know, you've got male birds that are trying to defend territories and keep their females from mating with other males, and they're trying to feed their young. And if they get distracted by your call, then that leaves all that other stuff wide open. At the same time, if you locate these predatory birds to the location where there might be some prey, then they might come in and kill the quarry that you're trying to find. So, you know, you have some trade-offs here. And most people, regardless of how worked up they got, they said, you know, if you use it, whether or not I use it, I feel that people should use it very wisely. They should only use it when they really feel that they need to. They should be conscientious about it and ask the people with them in mind. And the person that actually was the strongest in favor was someone who was a tour guide. And he had written a whole article that he sent to me because he really felt that I should read this and include it in what I had written, because he strongly felt that it was perfectly okay, and he was sick of having people complain to him about it because it allowed him to show them good species, you know, year after year, and he was very vocal. On the other end of the spectrum, I did have a woman who told me a story about how she spent the longest time in the parking lot looking for this bird that she just kept hearing over and over. It was a great bird. It was really exciting, and why couldn't she find it? And it turned out that right across the parking lot on the other side was someone with some speakers trying to lure it in from the tree. And so she wasted all this time on a ghost bird. So it really does have its benefits and its drawbacks. And it was interesting to me how incredibly passionate people felt about this issue. And I'll kind of get back to that in a minute. So the third major birding essential, no surprise, is the computer. And the computer has lots and lots of functions. And I've outlined as many as I could think of that I got back from people and that I have done myself. But I'm sure there are many more because the internet is just kind of an infinite thing these days. First of all, email, making this whole talk possible. Lots of people are on listservs and newsletters that allow them to get information, you know, right in their homes without even having to lift a finger. There are lots of how-to guides, such as how to build a nest box, which I of course advocate, especially for bluebirds. How to cook suet, how to make your garden more bird-friendly, all sorts of things like that to bring birds, you know, closer to you. Contacting bird pros. So some people said that they would write a scientist and ask the question, or they would see a bird that had a bird band and they would write in or send in a picture. I've gotten lots of photographs from people who are reporting a bird that they've sighted. So there are lots of nice ways for you to get in contact with tour guides also if you go on vacation. Online publications. There weren't too many people in my survey who actually responded to this, but I do it, and so I wanted to add it up there because it is just an invaluable source of journal articles and magazine articles, and you don't even have to pay for these things a lot of times. If you ever have any question that you're not really sure if Wikipedia is going to give you the definitive answer, you can go to a more reliable source. Video and sound clips, particularly I'm thinking of sites like All About Birds and USGS, and people mention those over and over. Those are great sites in case you don't have, you know, if you have an Eastern bird guide, but you go to the West Coast, you can get online and find all those West Coast birds without having to buy something brand new. It's really handy, or if you go to another country or, you know, anything, everything is online. You can also look up basically an entire digital field, you know, any question you have, it will probably be on there somewhere. Maps and coordinates are another thing I heard lots about. You know, people, especially those who are involved in listservs, want to go out and see a rare sighting that someone has reported. But a lot of the time you don't know where you're going. It's a new neighborhood. And so you can go online, you can actually download coordinates right into a GPS unit. You put it in your car, and then right there you go. You have directions for anywhere you want to go. Birding software is actually something I thought that I would hear more about because I have seen some programs that I thought were very cool that all my friends had. But people didn't use it a whole lot. Those who did were more interested not in the field guide use of it, but in the database use, where you can take your notes from any given field trip that you've gone on and go online or go onto your computer and just type them all in. And a lot of these programs allow you to then compare, you know, first sightings of this bird from this year all the way to this year, or how many you saw then versus how many you've seen now, or all sorts of great things where you can type in very specific, detailed occurrences that you've experienced out in the field.